गुरुर्ब्रह्मा गुरुर्विष्णुः गुरुर्देवो महेश्वरः गुरुरेव परं ब्रह्मा तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। चिन्मयं व्यापि यत्सर्वं त्रैलोक्यं सचराचरं तत्पदं दर्शितं येन तस्मै श्री गुरवे नमः। वक्रतुण्डमहाकाय सूर्यकोटिसमप्रभा निर्विघ्नं कुरु मे देव सर्वकार्येषु सर्वदा। वसुदेवसुतं देवं कंसचाणूरमर्दनं देवकी परमानन्दं कृष्णं वन्दे जगद्गुरुम्। भवानी शङ्करौ वन्दे श्रद्धा विश्वासरूपिणौ याभ्यां विना न पश्यन्ति सिद्धा स्वान्तस्थमीश्वरम्। नामस्मरण। अजं विरजं अजं विरजं गिरिजानाथं गिरिजानाथं अजं विरजं गिरिजानाथं अजं विरजं गिरिजानाथं ध्रुवम् एकं हे विश्वनाथं हे विश्वनाथं ध्रुवम् एकं हे विश्वनाथं ध्रुवम् एकं हे विश्वनाथं हर्षशोक हर्षशोक भयविमोचनं भयविमोचनं यज्ञदान यज्ञदान तपोसाधकं तपोसाधकं शुद्धचेतस शुद्धचेतस जगन्नाथं जगन्नाथं शम्भुशङ्कर शम्भुशङ्कर कैलासनाथं कैलासनाथं अजं विरजं गिरिजानाथं अजं विरजं गिरिजानाथं नीलकण्ठं नीलकण्ठं निर्गुणरूपं निर्गुणरूपं निराधारं निराधारं सकलाधारं सकलाधारं नीलकण्ठं निर्गुणरूपं नीलकण्ठं निर्गुणरूपं निराधारं सकलाधारं निराधारं सकलाधारं अजं विरजं गिरिजानाथं ध्रुवम् एकं हे विश्वनाथं ध्रुवम् एकं हे विश्वनाथं अजं विरजं गिरिजानाथं 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 यस्मिन् ज्ञाने भवेत् सर्वं विज्ञातं परमात्मनि तं वन्दे नित्यविज्ञानम् आनन्दमजमव्ययम् आनन्दमजमव्ययम् यदज्ञानादभूद्वैतम् ज्ञाते यस्मिन्निवर्तते रज्जुसर्पवदत्यन्तम् तं वन्दे पुरुषोत्तमम् तं वन्दे पुरुषोत्तमम् यस्योपदेशदीधित्या चिदात्मानः प्रकाशते नमः सद्गुरवे तस्मै स्वाविद्याध्वान्तभानवे स्वाविद्याध्वान्तभानवे हरिः ओम। Awareness is spontaneous, in other words automatic, and inclusive of the totality of life's situations. Awareness relies on knowingness rather than thinking and figuring out. The mind is more prone towards thinking, and we keep on saying, I will figure it out through thinking. But awareness is quite different. It relies on knowingness. It just knows. There is no need for it to think or to figure it out. It directly knows. So the function of awareness is spontaneous and silent rather than calculating. One who is hooked on to mind is very calculative. Such a person who is rooted and identified with the mind, every move that the person makes is very calculative. Calculative thinking. If he wants to talk to you also, he will be very calculative. What will I get? What is the benefit? How I can get more? But awareness is not like that. It is spontaneous and it is silent. There is no calculativeness. And there is no calculativeness, so there is no manipulativeness also. Spontaneity is there. And spontaneous and silent also. Awareness knows it is not what you do, but who you are and what you have become is very important in the long run. The people who are identified with mind give importance to what one does. They don't bother about who the one is and what the one becomes. Both are connected with internal essence and presence. Who the one is. We have to look inside. What one has become. In connection with that inside, whatever is there inside, what one has become outside. How much of proximity one has gained to that inner self. All this is connected with who the one is and what one has become. So that is what is important in the long run. Awareness knows this. But otherwise, the mind which is full of attachments, aversions, identifications, it always focuses on what one does. If I come to you, what you will do to me? If you come to me, what I can expect you to do to me? Always it wants you to do something. But awareness is not like that. Who you are and what you have become. It is focused on inner growth. It is focused on evolution. It is focused on rising higher in the level of consciousness. But mind is focused on what you get, what you gain, what you grab, what you possess, what you own, what you control, what you hoard. So mind is very calculative and manipulative. But awareness is totally different. And it is said that awareness is easygoing. And any mind which is connected with awareness, it will be easygoing. But how many minds are connected with the awareness? So awareness is easygoing. And awareness observes. And the mind that is connected with awareness prefers to observe. And it doesn't want to get involved in worldly dramas. positionalities, meaning egoistic viewpoints, judgments, gain or loss, controlling or avoiding. Unaware mind, which is more involved in attachments, it is always interested in controlling. As long as there is a gain, as long as there is a profit, as long as there is a benefit, I want to control everything. But when it is not there, avoid. I want to avoid. That is how we avoid people also. We try to control people also. We want to control everything. Very ironical situation is, the mind itself is out of control and it wants to control everything, and thinks if we control, there is security. Control means it is in my control, my dictation, it is my instruction, so is security. It thinks like that. But awareness is the real security. In awareness there is security. There is no insecurity only in awareness. So gain or loss, controlling, avoiding, judgments, positionalities, worldly dramas, no end. Awareness doesn't want to get involved in these things because it is easy going. It only observes, it doesn't get involved. Mind doesn't observe, it is involved. It is attached, identified, drowned, immersed, lost. Awareness looks at the fulfillment, equanimity, completeness. It looks at fulfillment, equanimity, completeness, and peace and lovingness. Awareness looks at peace and lovingness. Mind is more oriented towards disturbance, business type of affection or relationship. That is what is calculative. It is more focused on incompleteness, lack of fulfillment, definitely not equanimity. But awareness is totally different, because awareness knows that the ever-present joy of existence is internal. The mind thinks the so-called pleasure and happiness are external. But the mind, that's why always goes outside. That is why it is always agitated. But awareness, it knows the ever-present joy, not once in a while appearing joy. For mind, it is only once in a while, when situation is favorable, when objects are conducive, when everything is fine, then there is some pleasure, there is some happiness. But for awareness, it is not like that. It knows ever-present joy. That eternal joy, that ever-present joy of existence is internal. It knows it is inside. And not only that it is internal, but it is independent of content or form. Even inside the mind, it doesn't depend upon content or form. But the mental pursuits for pleasure and happiness always depend upon content and form. That is why any change in content and form, mind is affected. But ever-present joy of existence, which is internal, doesn't depend upon content or form. And for awareness, all days are equal, whether they are sunny days or rainy days. All days are equal. And awareness, it enjoys being with whatever it is. It enjoys being with, without owning or controlling. But the mind, whenever it finds anything is beneficial, first thing it plans is to own it. That is how we are. In our mental living, if anything is little pleasurable, if anything is little beneficial, if anything is adding to our finances or something, we want to own it first. Own it, own it. The mind wants to own it. And then own and do what? Control it. Owning, controlling. Relationships also is like that. Position also is like that. Post also is like that. Responsibility is like that. Wherever this mind is, which is more prone towards calculativeness, it wants to own, it wants to control. Any relationship, after some time it wants to own, control. But awareness, just being with it. No owning, no controlling. That is why whenever people are having relationship with those who are aware, there is no controlling, there is no owning, there is no possessing, there is no dominating, there is no aggressiveness, there is no reaction, there is no frustration, there is no bursting out. Because awareness, it's totally different. Whereas mental living, always controlling, always owning, always possessing, always dominating, always aggressive. That is why there are so many problems. That is why there is so much of unrest, so much of agitation. So the best way to get out of that is to focus on inside and become aware and draw more beauty from the awareness. Then the mind will become awareful. Then slowly awareness takes over. So that awareness enjoys being with. If you are just with anything without the thought of owning or controlling, there is enjoyment. The moment this owning, controlling comes, gone. That is of the ego. The moment ego manifests and interferes, the enjoyment gone, more tension, more frustration, more irritation, more negativity. And we contribute also more negativity in others or in the situation. That's how it happens. Awareness is not driven by goals, but instead it values the capacity for equal joy in all circumstances. In all circumstances, what awareness values is equal joy. But goal-oriented, only once in a while joy when goal is achieved. Afterwards, it is not experiencing that joy. Till it achieves, there is so much of tension, whether I will get or not, whether it will happen or not, goal-oriented. But awareness values something different. Equal joy in all circumstances. It is very beautiful. Whatever might be the circumstance, irrespective of the situation and condition and circumstances, awareness values the equal joy. It experiences that joy. It only sees that joy. Because it has got equanimity, it sees only that joy in all circumstances. But the mind cannot do that. The mind can only experience joy when there is some benefit, some winning, some victory, some success, some achievement, then only. But after that again it goes away. Again that fades away. Again mind has to run for something, chase something else. Keep on chasing. That is how the mind is. But awareness is not like that. Because it knows the joy is internal. The ever-present joy is internal. And it is connected with existence. It is always available. It doesn't depend upon anything. It doesn't need anything. It doesn't need any achievement. It doesn't need any success. It is already happy. And when it is already happy, naturally a mind that is full of awareness and already happy, automatically success follows. It doesn't want also success will come. It doesn't look at success also, success will follow like a shadow. But other mind which is tensed, which is disintegrated, which is confused, which is full of conflicts, who struggle, success will not come. Because the mind is not equipped to achieve. And even if it achieves, it can't enjoy. Before it enjoys fully, it goes away also. The success fades away. Mind is constantly changing. So, awareness is something totally different. Awareness has no stake in any viewpoint. Mind has all stakes in that viewpoint. I hold on to my viewpoint, come what may. Even if I am ready to lose your relationship, you listen to me, otherwise get out. I am ready to forego everything. Some people even go to the extent of destroying oneself and others also, holding on to viewpoints. So important my viewpoint is, even though it has no point. My point of view, it holds on to my point of view and goes on fighting. It wants you to listen to its viewpoint. You know, meaningless, but you should listen. There is no worth, but you should appreciate. But you should follow. You should obey. Mind is like that. The ego is like that. It is purposeless, baseless, meaningless, worthless. You should listen, that's all. Because I am giving my point. Whether there is point or not, you have to listen. That is my point. But awareness, no stakes. It presents the viewpoint, but no stake. If you listen, okay. Don't listen, more okay. If you follow, fine. Don't follow, very fine. If you agree, good. Don't agree, very good. If you respect, very nice. If you don't respect, more nice. Because it is equal joy in all circumstances. Awareness focuses on values. So no stakes involved. If you put our stakes, then that only is to be implemented. Everybody has to accept that. My viewpoint. That's why awareness doesn't put stakes in any viewpoint. It has viewpoints, and whatever viewpoints awareness has, they are the best. Because it is out of awareness which is connected with consciousness and not mind. It is something divine. So its viewpoints are always the best. They always do good. They are always auspicious. And mental viewpoints, very conflicting, inauspicious, not every time good. That is why awareness is flexible. Awareness allows changes. Mind doesn't allow changes. Change means fear. Change means insecurity. Change means frightening for mind. It wants to fix everything. Awareness, whatever changes happen, let it happen. It allows change. It is flexible. It is adaptable. Awareness is adaptable. It is not rigid. It is not stubborn. It is not foolish, holding on to this foolish point of view. It is flexible, adaptable, relaxing, very comfortable to be with, because it enjoys being with. No owning, no controlling, no dominating, no aggressing, no aggressiveness. That is why when we meet people, if they are of aggressive nature, dominating nature, egoistic nature, within few seconds we will know that they start controlling, that they start manipulating. Very soon they will do that, because that is how the nature is, that is how they are, that is how it is. The people of loving nature, who value freedom of everyone, full of awareness, they are totally different. They also relate, but they are totally different. Because awareness is of a different quality. Because awareness is godly, awareness is divine. This awareness is just behind the mind, just beneath the mind. All that mind needs to become more awareful and to gain more beauty of awareness is to focus the attention inwardly. That is all is required. Then automatically mind becomes pure. A purer the mind, greater will be the joy, and closer will be the realization. So purity of mind is given lot of importance by Hastamalaka and even Adi Shankaracharya in his Bhashya also. So then the sloka also is connected with that. After seeing 5 slokas till yesterday, we now move on to the 6th slokam in Hastamalakiyam. But in the book which you are holding, which you got from bookstall, it might be 8th sloka, because the first two are added here in the number. That is why it is 8. Otherwise it is 6th sloka. Ya eko vibhati swata shuddha chetah prakasha swarupopi नानेवधीषु शरावोदकस्थो यथा भानुरेकः स नित्योपलब्धिः स्वरूपोऽहमात्मा स नित्योपलब्धिः स्वरूपोऽहमात्मा य एको विभाति स्वतः शुद्धचेताः प्रकाशस्वरूपोऽपि नानेवधीषु चरावोदकस्थो यथा भानुरेकः स नित्योपलब्धिः स्वरूपोऽहमात्मा यः स्वतः शुद्धचेताः विभाति, that which by itself shines to those pure minds, that which by itself to those pure minds shines. Swatah shuddha chetaha vibhati. When the mind becomes pure, this shines. So that which by itself shines to those pure minds, prakasha swarupaha ekaha api dhishu nana iva. Being self-luminous, prakasha rupaha, self-luminous, ekaha, one only, dhishu nana iva. In the intellects, it appears as if many. Yatha ekabhanuhu sharavodakastaha. Just as the one sun reflected in various pots which are filled with water. When the sun gets reflected in the pots that are filled with water, there are so many suns, even though it is one sun. Similarly, when the one self gets reflected in different intellects, it appears many. So it says, the self being self-luminous, the Atman being self-luminous, shines by itself to those whose minds are absolutely pure, or whose minds have become totally pure. When the minds have become totally pure, the self shines by itself. Though only one, the self appears as many and different in different intellects. It appears as many and different in different intellects. In the same way as the sun, though one, it appears as many when reflected in different pots of water. I am that self which is of the nature of eternal consciousness. Adi Shankaracharya says in his Bhashyam that the self is ever the subject and cannot therefore ever become an object. So, when it is not becoming an object, it cannot be experienced by sense organs. Sense organs experience only an object, and the self is always the subject. So that is why senses cannot experience the divine self. So when the senses are completely withdrawn from the external objects and the mind is concentrated on the self, then the self is attained, self is known, the self is realized, self-knowledge is gained. Very clear statements from Sri Adi Shankaracharya. How you can gain the self? Simple. First thing, senses are completely withdrawn. completely withdrawn from the external objects, and mind is concentrated on the self. Self is attained. 2-point formula. Senses are completely withdrawn from external objects, mind is totally focused on the self. Self is attained. So Adi Shankaracharya, the sight seer from the Kathopanishad, first sloka, 4th valli, 2nd adhyaya in the Kathopanishad. We might have heard this few times. Paranchikhani vetrunat swayambhu tasmat parang pasyati nantaratman kaschid dhiraha pratyagatmanamaikshat avrutta chakshuh amrutattvamichan avrutta chakshuh amrutattvamichan paranchikhani vetrunat swayambhu. Swayambhu, the Brahma. The Brahma or the Bhagavan has made the sense organs outgoing, paranchikani. The sense organs are outgoing. Who made like that? God made like that. That is why senses are going out. And the mind that is connected always with senses going out. What can we do? Go out. That is all. So, who is responsible? Why my mind is always going out? God is responsible. So, easy. Why are you disturbed? God. Why are you agitated? God. Why? Because it is going out. And always it is wanting something which is outside. What can I do? God made it like that. So, will you ever become less agitated? Ask God. Now, how to make you less agitated? Tell God. But what will you do? Nothing. Leave it to God. Because why? God made it. God made it like that. What can I do? So, the Lord or God or Bhagavan made the sense organs outgoing, meaning extroverted. Therefore, tasmat paran pashyati. Therefore, everybody perceives the outside objects only. Always. Whatever they think, whatever they feel, whatever they experience, whatever they plan, whatever they imagine, whatever they desire, whatever they set their mind on, always outside. Tasmat paran pashyati. Na antaratman. No takers only for that which is inside. Antaratman is their inner self. Nobody is bothered about inner self. Nobody looks at inner self. Because what to do? God made the senses going outside, mind goes outside, always outside. That is how the creation is. People are. But still it says, Kaschid dhiraha pratyagatmanam aikshat avrutta chakshuhu amrutattvam icchan. All those people who are focusing their attention outside, mind is going outside, senses are going towards sense objects, they are in the mortal world. But there is another level of existence, immortal level, amrutatva. Amrutatvam icchan. Those people who want immortality, who seek immortality, avrutta chakshuhu, they turn their attention inwards. Kaschid dhiraha pratyagatmanam aikshat. When they turn their attention inward, they will definitely come to see the pratyagatmanam. They will see. But who do like this? Kaschid dhiraha. The dhira purushas. The people of real inner courage and fortitude and bravery and daringness. Outside and all, it is all petty paltry things. And there are some people who say, unless you climb the mountain, you are not great. Unless you do bungee jumping, you are not great. These are all external, petty. Inside you do jumping. Inside mountains to climb. That is more adventurous. Outside it is ego satisfying. That is all. Inside it is more greater. So, when we turn away from external objects, move towards inside in order to attain that immortality. The Dhira Purushas turn their attention inward. You really need courage. The whole world is turning attention outwards. You turn attention inwards, they will think you are pagal. You have to accept that. You have to bear with all those things. Not easy. You look very strange. Totally different. Dunya pura ek taraf, tu ek taraf. Are? But it is like that. Dhira Purushas are like that. So, desiring immortality, the Dhira Purushas turn their attention inwards, away from external objects, and finally see the indwelling self. The Antaratman which is there, Pratyagatmanam Aikshata. The inner self, they will come to see it. So when the mind becomes pure, meaning totally free from attachments and aversions, the self shines by itself. Swataha Shuddha Chetaha. When the mind becomes pure, the self shines by itself. No need to attain self-realization. Self only reveals itself for the pure mind. That is the greatness. Adi Shankaracharya ji also takes some citation from Brihadaranyaka Upanishad, 20th sloka, 4th section, 4th chapter. Ekadhaivanudrastavyam etadapramayam dhruvam virajah para akashad aja atma mahan dhruvaha. Please repeat after me. Ekadhaivanudrastavyam etadapramayam dhruvam virajah para akashad aja atma mahan dhruvaha. There the Upanishad says, it should be realized in one form only. The supreme reality, whatever is there, it should be realized in one form. What is that form? As homogeneous pure intelligence without any break in it, like the continuously existing ether or space. Space exists continuously. So similarly, the supreme divinity should be realized as homogeneous pure intelligence without any break in it, in one form. Ekadhaivanu drastavyam. For it is apramayam. There are 2-3 meanings for it. One meaning is unknowable. Some people call it as aprameyam. So they add that extra thing to it and say unknowable. Unknowable how, why? Here it is said, owing to unity, everything is Brahman. But in normal worldly level of knowing, one is known by another. One thing is known by another. There should be some separation for one to know another. This is separate from that. So this knows that. But in homogeneous oneness, when it is all one unity, where is the other to know something else? So that is why it is said here, in that way it is unknowable. Unknowable it is. And dhruvam, eternal. Another meaning of apramayam is imperishable and unlimited. Etad apramayam is imperishable and unlimited. That supreme divinity is imperishable. It is ever present, ever existing. It is not limited, it is unlimited. And virajaha. Virajaha means free from passion, free from impurity, free from dirt. Virajaha. Absolutely pure, taintless. It is taintless, dirtless, impurityless. Nothing can create any blemish in it, any impurity in it. Our mind, the moment it contacts anything outside, immediately it is affected by what is outside, and the blemishes are there, impurities are there, tainting is there, so many things are there. But self is not like that. Virajaha, para akashad. It is beyond the akasha also. It is beyond the akasha. Aja, it is birthless or unborn, meaning beyond time. Aja Atma, it is birthless. And Mahan, it is infinite. And Dhruvaha, constant. It is constant. Nothing changes in it. It is constant. It never moves. Nothing moves in it and it doesn't move anywhere. Because it is everywhere. And it is beyond all change. So, one realizes that Supreme Self which is infinite, imperishable, unlimited, eternal, absolutely pure, taintless, beyond space, birthless, infinite and constant. So when one realizes that, one comes to experience also, because when one becomes one with it, one also is like that. So it is said, the attainment, Adi Shankaracharya says here, the attainment of knowledge of Brahman means cessation of identification with external things. What do you call as attainment of knowledge of Brahman or self-realization or Atma Sakshatkara? Cessation of identification with external things. What are the external things? Body, mind, possessions, people, objects, so on and so forth. Identification, when it is withdrawn from all these things, cessation of identification with these things is attainment of knowledge of Brahman. So identity of Brahman is not something new to be established now. It is already there, it is always there. Everyone in reality is identical with Brahman, but wrongly considers oneself as being identical with the limited jiva because of wrong notions, because of superimposition, because of ignorance. That is the reason why every individual thinks that one is limited, one is conditioned, one is bound, so on and so forth, and get affected by that which is limited. Because of that confusion, lack of clarity, how it is with itself and how it presents itself to others. One couple moved into a new locality. Looked very nice locality, decent roads, good facilities, nice community. So they moved into a new locality. And after they moved, within couple of days, the neighbors came and met the wife and then asked, "What is your husband? What does he do? What is your husband?" So she said, "He is a reader." So they immediately, "My God, reader? In university, reader means a very intelligent guy, good status, high intellectual, wise person." So they felt very nice, very good. And then they left. And afterward the message spread around that here is a reader, here they came, here is a reader staying in our locality. And in 2-3 weeks, many people of that locality came together to meet the couple. And then they said, husband also was there at that time, and they said, "We are so proud, we are so happy, we are so feeling very nice that such a intelligent, wise person is with us, who is the reader in the university. So nice. So where are you? What do you read and where are you the reader?" Immediately said, "I am a meter reader in electricity board. I read electricity meters." But the wife said reader. But they all assumed university reader. But he told, "I am a reader." When there is no clarity of how to be with oneself and how to be with others, mind lacks this clarity. Awareness is not bothered. Awareness is as it is, with oneself, with others. Because it can only be as it is. It is as it is, It looks at everything as they are. That is why it is awareness. And one who is connected with that awareness of consciousness is also like that. So it is said here, the scriptures do not enjoin that identity with Brahman should be established, because it is already there. The scriptures only say that the false identification with things other than Brahman should be given up. If you are identifying with anything else other than Brahman, it is false identification. So we have to give it up. Identification with body, give it up. Identification with mind, give it up. With senses, give it up. With ego, give it up. Anything other than Brahman, anything other than God, anything other than divine, if you are identifying with anything, you have to give it up. So when the identification with other things ceases, the identity with one's own self, which is natural, automatically prevails. It is automatic. It automatically prevails. This is what is meant. Adi Shankaracharya says in this sloka by Astamalaka, Yah swatah shuddha chetaha vibhati. The self shines by itself to those whose minds are pure. This is what Astamalaka means. So, the Brahman or Atman or the inner self is only one. But it appears as many because of upadhi, in the form of body, in the form of mind, intellect, so on and so forth. The self which is reflected in the intellect is what is Astamalaka calling as Jiva. Adi Shankaracharya also is referring to the same thing as Jiva. The Brahman or Atman which is reflecting in the mind or intellect is called as Jiva. The Jivas also appear different, many and different, because intellects are different, intellects are many. Just as that sun which is one, waters in pots are different, they appear many and they appear different. One sun appears many and one sun appears as different, even though it is only one. That is how we all appear different from one another. All difference is in the intellects only. The multiplicity is in the intellects, the difference is in the intellects. Internal organ, mind, intellect, memory, ego. Apart from that, if you look at awareness, it is all one. Identifying with the mind, attached with the contents of the mind, we cannot talk of oneness. Even though we talk about oneness, there will be divisions, there will be disparities, there will be differences, there will be disintegration, there will be conflicts. Oneness is possible only when one is aware of that awareness which is the same in all. It is only possible through self-knowledge, or at least in the pursuit of self-knowledge, but not other way. All those unities are temporary, only time bound. After that unity goes away and disintegration happens. In the school, the teacher asked the students, because every day the same teaching, same subjects, they are feeling bored. She recognized and said, today, instead of me teaching, students will teach. Not same subject, but each student will come and stand here in my place and will tell something wise statements. Students to say wise statements. But everybody looked at each other because no homework was given about this. Suddenly teacher is asking. So not everybody was ready. In the class there were 60 students. Already it is full. Only 4 or 5 students were willing to do the job because they were spontaneous. So teacher said, okay, you come. First student came and said, wise statement, teacher? Yes. Tell the wise statements. Behind every successful man, there is a woman. Teacher felt very happy. Very good. And the student said, I have not yet completed, teacher. Behind every successful man, there is a woman. And behind every unsuccessful man, there are 2. Even though she didn't like, but she said, okay, go and sit. Another boy came. Love is blind. Teacher said, wow, at this young age, love is blind. And he said, marriage is an eye-opener. Because you face reality. And then another person came. He said, teacher, it is always better to keep mouth shut and give the impression that you are a stupid. It is always better to keep your mouth shut and give the impression that you are a stupid, rather than to open it and remove all doubts. Because the person will become sure that you are stupid. Another person said, statistics that are connected with economy, statistics, are like cell phone cover. Statistics are like cell phone cover. What is revealed is suggestive, but what is hidden, it is vital. Accounts also is like that. When the companies release the accounts, the statistics connected with accounts also. What is revealed is suggestive, but what is hidden is vital. There only the point is. Just as if the reflecting surface is clean and steady, the image also is bright. Wherever the reflection is there, the reflecting surface, if it is clean and also steady and clean, the image will be bright. So when the self is reflected in the mind, if the mind is clean and steady, meaning less agitations and nobler thoughts, meaning less impurity and greater purity and steadiness, then the glory of the Atman that is revealed in this mind is maximum. So, how much of the Atman gets revealed through this mind depends upon the purity of the mind and steadiness of the mind. Impure minds prevent the person or people from getting a glimpse of that awareness, of that conscious self which is just behind the mind. The impurities in the mind, they hold the mind onto themselves. They are agitating the mind. They make the mind restless. It cannot know what is immediately behind it. It doesn't allow, they don't allow the mind. Because impure mind is occupied with attachments, aversions, likes, dislikes. How can it contemplate on something which is behind it? So, that is why it is said in the scripture that sadhana is necessary for purification. A pure mind is completely devoid of all thoughts about external things and all attachments with external things. One of the best ways that is suggested here also is surrendering to Sadguru, surrendering to that divinity. That way also one can get rid of all the impurities. And it is also said, if the intellect is made very subtle, then also we can get out of impurities. Dull intellect cannot do that. Subtle, sharp intellect can do that. As subtle and as sharp as the ant which can pick up grains of sugar when they are mixed in the sand. Grains of sugar mixed with grains of sand. And there is such a vast place of sand, but the ant can go and pick up the sugar. Our intellect should be so subtle that amidst the world, in the world of names, forms, aversions, attachment, likes, dislikes, it should focus its attention on the awareness in everything, the substratum in everything, the essence in everything, the existence in everything. Such a mind is called as Nirmala Chittam or pure mind. And Adi Shankaracharya says here, when the Chittam is freed from dosha, dosha here he means as mistake or error of avidya and desire, ignorance and desire. Because we don't know our true nature, we don't know that we are ever happy, so we desire to become happy. That is where all problem starts. So, here Nirmala Chittam means that Chittam which is freed from dosham. Dosham here means freed from avidya and desire. To such a person, to such a mind who has this Nirmala Chittam, where there is no avidya and then desire, then Aham Brahmasmi, I am that Brahman, I am that Paramatma. Such Advaya Brahma Tattva throbs, shines, flashes naturally. This is what Adi Shankaracharya says. Atma by itself throbs, shines, flashes to those pure-minded people who are freed from avidya and kama. So that pure mind when we attain, the self by itself throbs, shines, flashes. How to attain that purity? Again, the connection is made to the Upanishad, and then Adi Shankaracharya says, how to attain purity? Simple formula of attaining purity. First point he says, Swadhyaya, self-study, not a selfish study. Self-study of scriptures which talk about the higher reality. Self-study. You need to take some book, self-study. Start self-study. First one. Second one, spirit of sacrifice, yajna bhava, spirit of sacrifice. Be of sacrificing nature. What you have, share with others. Don't allow ego to rule. See that oneness with others, yajna bhava, for the sake of common good of everybody, collective good of everybody. So that yajna bhava. Then danam, third one, charity. Danam is not only money, whatever talent, whatever energy, whatever capability, capacity you have and others don't have, share it with others. Charity. And the fourth one, tapas, which is penance, which is upasana. So with these four, Swadhyaya, self-study, Yajna, spirit of sacrifice, Danam, charity, Tapas, penance, the mind becomes pure. Those people who are in Brahmacharya Ashrama, Grihastha Ashrama, Vanaprastha Ashrama, all these methods, Swadhyaya, Yajna, Danam, Tapas, once we practice this, then what happens is mind becomes pure and there arises the desire for self-realization or realization of Brahman, and then it immediately is followed by Atma Sakshatkara, actual realization of Brahman. Then all fear vanishes, all bhaya gone, all grief vanishes, all shoka gone, all disappointments gone, all misery gone, all unhappiness gone, all sadness gone, all sorrow gone. Because tarati shokam atmavit, one who knows Atma, attains Atma, no more grief for such a, no more bhaya. There were two kids studying in the same class, small kids. One day, instead of meeting in school, in their classroom, they met in a clinic. They met outside the clinic. Two kids, they met outside the clinic. Chinnu met Bannu. So, Bannu was weeping outside the clinic. Weeping. Bannu was weeping. So, Chinnu asked, why are you weeping? Why are you weeping like this? So, Bannu said, I came here for blood test and they cut my finger. I came here for blood test and they cut my finger. The moment Chinnu heard this, he started crying. Then Bannu stopped weeping and said, why are you crying? He said, I came for urine test. He is afraid. He doesn't know. Kids, they can't think something better. No, they are, fear is like that. Ignorance creates lot of fear. What can we do? Once it so happened that the son showed the progress report to father. and said, teacher asked that you should sign on this progress report. The father looked at the progress report, but the mother was standing beside the kid. Otherwise, he would have scolded for that failure in subjects and then low marks and all that. Mother is standing there, she will immediately tell, he is your replica, that is why he is like that. That is why he did not say anything, he kept quiet. And then I said, please sign. Then he brought the stamp pad and then gave his thumb impression. The son asked, Dad, why are you giving thumb impression? He said, your teacher should not know that your father is educated. Then she will think, such an educated father and a foolish son. So thumb impression better. She will think a father is uneducated, so this is okay with the son. So mind with a lot of fear, doubt and attachments and so-called prestiges will always function in that manner only. Awareness is clean and open because it is as it is in its own understanding of itself and in understanding of the world. So then here Adi Shankaracharya says in his Bhashyam, Tattva Sakshatkaram means, he puts it into a very small statement. What is Tattva Sakshatkaram? Ahameva Paramatma, Paramatma eva Aham is equal to Tattva Sakshatkaram. Very simple equation. What is Tattva Sakshatkaram? What is the attainment of highest truth? Realization of highest truth? Simple. Aham eva Paramatma, Paramatma eva Aham. Meaning, I am Paramatma, Paramatma alone am I. This Aparoksha Anubhuti, meaning immediate experience, is called as Tattva Sakshatkaram. And he says, Brahma Veda Brahma Eva Bhavati. The knower of Brahman becomes Brahman and is Brahman alone. And for such a pure-minded Mahatmas, Paramatma shines by himself. And Shuddha Chetaha, Chetaha here also means, according to Adi Shankara, Paramatma. Meaning that Brahman alone is described here. He says there is no difference between Paramatma and a Mukta Purusha, who is a Jivan Mukta, who is liberated while living. So he says it is mentioned as Ekam or Ekaha and Prakasha Rupaha. Shuddha Chetaha, Prakasha Rupaha, Ekaha. That Ekaha, one without a second. Non-dual reality. One and only one. And Prakasha Rupaha, self-luminous. What is that? So that is what it is, Atman. That is what is here is indicated. Inner meaning of Shuddha Chetaha is the Jivan Mukta Purusha, who is not different from Paramatma. So he says, Tattva Jnana happens to the person while alive only, while living only. The one who realizes this highest Brahma Tattvam, that I am that, Aham Brahmasmi. So, Sa Yo Iha Vai Tat Paramam Brahma Veda Brahma Eva Bhavati. So the Jivan Mukti is possible according to the scripture, says Adi Shankaracharya ji. He also says, Jivan Nevahi Vidwan Harsha Shokabhyam Vimuchyate. A learned person, while being alive, goes beyond the bondage of Harsha and Shoka. Harsha here means exaltation, rapture, uncontrollable delight. That is called as Harsha, and Shoka means grief. So, the learned person, wise person, knowledgeable person goes beyond Harsha and Shoka and attains liberation. So, Jivan Mukti is possible. But he says, even after attaining the Jivan Mukti, even after gaining that highest state of knowledge, because the body still continues to exist because of the prarabdha, as long as that prarabdha is there, prarabdha karmas are there, even that body of a realized sage, a Gnani Mahatma, still continues to live. As long as that body is living, when that Gnani Mahatma looks out the world, at the world through the body, still the world appears, still the world is visible to that Mahatma, but still this Mahatma is reveling only in that Jnana, but is not affected by that Ajnana that is there in the world. And he gives an example here. There is darkness of the night, very thick dark. And when the sunlight rises, the darkness is gone. Sunlight rises, darkness is gone. But when an individual holds a very big umbrella, there is still again a shadow and there is little dark. Very slight darkness. The intensity of the light is gone because holding an umbrella in the daytime. Holding an umbrella in the daytime. So that intense bright light is not falling onto him. There is shadow, and then sometimes because of that shadow there is more kind of dullness of light or darkness. Slight darkness. So he says, when that person removes that umbrella, then what happens? The sunlight which is already there, the darkness which is gone remains as it is gone. The darkness which is not there, which was gone because of the sunlight, it remains like that. It will never come back. So he experiences that light. That is what he says. So, when that individual attains that Brahma Sakshatkaram, Jivan Mukti, Avidya, Ajnana gone. But because the body is there, from the worldly viewpoint, because he has to see the world, that type of shade and shadow like thing will remain. But when that body also is dropped away, then the knowledge which he gained previously only, where it eradicated that Ajnana, that remains as it is. So here he says, this Badhya Badaka Prasanga is of two types. The delusory knowledge or Mithya Jnanam is removed by Yadartha Jnanam along with its cause. That is one. Second is, sometimes the cause still remains, but Mithya Jnanam is removed by Yadartha Jnanam. Two examples are given here. In the dull and dim light, when a seashell is seen, in place of that seashell, an individual may see, because some light only falling on that seashell, and then it is reflecting as silver. The seashell can be seen as silver. That silveriness is seen on the seashell. Because the silveriness is seen, seashell is not seen. So, when the knowledge arises because of brighter light falling onto that, and when the knowledge arises, it is not silver, it is seashell. So, that silveriness goes away along with its cause, that is ignorance that is there. So, seashell is clearly seen. That is one. Second thing what he said, sometimes the cause still remains, but Mithya Jnanam removed by Yadartha Jnanam. Suppose there is Pitta Dosham according to Ayurveda. Pitta Dosham according to Ayurveda also results in colored vision in the eye. A sort of jaundice. A sort of. So what happens? The eyes become yellow. So the fellow also sees everything yellow. Even when a white Shankam conch is shown, he says it is yellow. It is yellow in color. Because he sees like that. He doesn't believe it as white. But when his closest, dearest friend, who always did good for him, who was always a well-wisher, comes to him and says, Apta Vakyam Pramanam. In Shastra it is said, when we don't know what is the truth, we rely upon Apta Vakyam as Pramanam, as the proof. Apta Vakyam, the very closest, dearest, well-wisher friend, who has proved himself to be a doer of good always to us, a helper to us, always he has helped us. So when that Apta Vakyam Pramanam is there, that person says, no, this is white conch, this is white Shankam. So then this individual believes it because Apta Vakyam Pramanam, and he will start accepting it as conch is white. But still, he believes it now. For sure he understands, yes, it is white, because he is Apta Vakyam Pramanam. He realizes that it is white. But still, That jaundice is not gone, the pitta dosha is not gone. So because the pitta dosha is still there, he comes to see the Shankha, even though it appears as yellow, he knows that it is not yellow. He knows that it is not yellow. Like a Jivan Mukta, body is still there, world is still there, interactions are still there, the world is seen, like Pitta dosha still remaining, that Prarabdha karma body is still remaining. Even though he sees the world, that world is visible, he knows it is unreal. He knows the reality is Atma. That is the level of a Jivan Mukta. He knows the reality is an Atma. In a railway compartment, when a person entered, then he saw that a passenger who was lying down on the berth was being scolded and hit by others. He was being scolded and hit. They were not only scolding him, but they are hitting him. Hey Jagat Singh, you are stupid. Hey Jagat Singh, you are idiot. You are rascal. Jai Martadi. Went on hitting them. But he has covered himself with that blanket and he is quietly sleeping on. They are hitting, punching. And after a while, they left that place. So then this person who was seeing all, they said, I will come back again. And they left. Probably they went into another bogie. And this person who was seeing all this asked him, when they are scolding you, hitting you, calling you by name, why are you not responding? And that man says, because I am not Jagat Singh. They are saying, you Jagat Singh, stupid, idiot, they are hitting. He says, I am not Jagat Singh. Hare, but they are hitting you. They will get tired because anyway I am not Jagat Singh. I have what to say about such people. Ignorance is like that. In ignorance, there is a sort of satisfaction which is more ignorant, more dark. So the ignorance has to be removed. Once that ignorance is gone, superimposition gone, delusion gone, there is absolute presence of the conscious, shining, throbbing, flashing divine self. Then there is no more calculativeness, no more manipulation, no more negativity, nothing will be there. Once I have heard that the North American Space Agency, NASA, was interviewing professionals to be sent to Mars. Kujagraha. So they want to send professionals to Mars in their spaceship. So they were interviewing. The condition there is, the one who goes there will not return to Earth. Gaya, Udari. So the interviewer, the interviewing officer, a space scientist who was appointed there for the job, he was asking, how much you need? How much we should pay you? Because Gaya, that's all. But it will help so many people to reveal so much of knowledge and so much of research and all that. Your name will be written always, everybody remembers. So, first person is American engineer Aya, one American engineer. So the interviewing officer was interviewing. So he said, how much you want? And the American engineer said, $1 million. $1 million I want. What you will do with it? I will donate it to a university for more research study. Very, very pious gentleman. Donate it to university. Anyway, I am going only in the field of research. Research. In my name, $1 million will be donated. More research goes on. Okay, there were a few more candidates. So, finalization will be done, decision will be taken afterward. Then the second candidate was called, a Russian doctor. A Russian doctor came in. He said, $2 million I want for my family and $1 million I want to donate to Medical Research Foundation. $2 million to my family, $1 million, it was very clear, $1 million. Said, okay, you wait outside, we will let you know the decision, you can go. Then came the Indian politician. He was also there. Indian politician. And he was asked, He slowly got up and went near the ear of that interviewing officer. He whispered. What did he whisper? $5 lakhs, $5 million. $5 million. He said, why? So much? And that man said, $2 million for you. $2 million for me. And we will send that American engineer. $1 million. What a deal. That interviewing officer said, never I came across such a candidate who thinks of me also. What you will get if you interview somebody and send to Mars? This politician, तुमको क्या आता भाई? वो मार्स में गया तो आपका फायदा देखो, आपको क्या आता? What will you get? $2 million for you. What will I get? $2 million. Anyway, American engineer को भेज देंगे. That is how deals are done. Egoistic mind is calculative and manipulative. It is like that. Awareness-filled mind is not like that, because it knows the joy is within and it has got different meaning for success. Everlasting happiness itself is a great success. So that is how it feels the success inside and not outside. It experiences that success inside. So it is said, even after the removal of mithya jnanam, that this conch or shankam is yellow, by the apta vakyam that it is white, still because pitta dosham did not go away, that person, for that person's eyes, the conch may appear to be yellow, but he knows. But even then the person rejects the thought that it is yellow and remains firm, deep-rooted in his understanding. Yes, Shankam is white because Apta Vakyam Pramanam. Shastra Vakyam Pramanam also should be taken like that. Whatever the scriptures say, it is Bhagavad Vakyam, it has to be accepted like that. When we accept like that, even after Shuddha Atma Vishaya Yadartha Jnanam, removal of false knowledge, because still body is there, because still interaction with Anatma Swarupa, Mithya Rupa Prapancha is there, the illusory not self world is there, the world will appear as if it is real, but inside the person is firmly deep rooted in the knowledge that it is unreal, the world is unreal, and so the person will be indifferent to the world, udasina to the world. And he will not find any raga, any dvesha in the world. No raga, no dvesha. He will not have any likes, any dislikes. He remains untouched by whatever happens in the world. Udasina vad asino gunairyo na vichalyate, from the Bhagavad Gita. He who seated like the one unconcerned is not moved by what he sees, what he knows, what he interacts, what he experiences, and what he is with. Because he knows gunas simply act in gunas. So he is not at all. He is not disturbed. He is only self, Atma-centered, and he will not get shaken from that firm deep-rootedness. He will remain like that. In the Mahavakya Darpanam, how a Jivan Mukta Purusha is, whatever is being said here in the Bhashya. So Adi Shankara has already said in Mahavakya Darpanam, sloka number 270 in Mahavakya Darpanam, Atitananu Sandhanam Bhavishyada Vicharanam Atitananu Sandhanam Bhavishyada Vicharanam Audasinyamapi Prapte Audasinyamapi Prapte Jivan Muktasya Lakshanam Jivan Muktasya Lakshanam Long ago, when we did some sessions here on the Chanakya Niti Shastram, titled Winning All the Way, we came across one sloka which spoke at length about being in the present, not thinking of past, not thinking of future. Many people talk about this. Here there is another beautiful sloka in Mahavakya Darpanam which talks about this and much more deeper than this. Atitan anusandhanam, na anusandhanam, bhavishyad avicharanam, audasinyam api prapte, jivan muktasya lakshanam. Not thinking about what has happened in the past. How a jivan mukta purusha lives in awareness. Not thinking about what has happened in the past. Gone, gone. That's all. And bhavishyad avicharanam. And not thinking about what is about to happen in the future. Not thinking about what is about to happen in the future. And not affected by what happens in the present. Whatever happens in the present. Audasinyam api prapte. Whatever is prapta in the present. Audasinyam. Not affected by what is happening in the present. Not affected by likes and dislikes. Not affected by joys and sorrows. Not affected by honor and dishonor. Not affected by profit and loss. Not affected by anything. In the present. Remains unconcerned, indifferent to whatever happens. Jivan muktasya lakshanam. Such is the quality of the liberated while living. Jivan mukta purusha. Whatever might be happening in the present, unconcerned, indifferent, not interested. Because he is already attained that joy, that everlasting, ever-existing happiness. He knows what the truth is. He has attained the highest attainment of all attainments, the ultimate goal of all goals. He has already reached. So what is the need for him to gain anything or lose anything, think about anything? Swami Chinmayanand used to say also, no worry, no anxiety, no worry about the past, no anxiety about the future, no excitement in the present. A beautiful Pramanika sloka from Mahavakya Darpanam, Adi Shankaracharya. What a beautiful thing is that. This is Jivan Muktasya Lakshanam. And he says in next sloka, Ishtanishtartha sampraptau. Ishtanishtartha sampraptau. Samadarshitayatmani. Samadarshitayatmani. Ubhayatra vikaritvam. Ubhayatra vikaritvam. Jivan muktasya lakshanam. Ishta, anishta, artha, sampraptau. When happiness and misery, profit and loss, victory and defeat happen, samadarshitayatmani, ubhayatra avikaritvam. When these ubhayas are happening, happiness, misery, profit, loss, victory, defeat happen, no modification whatsoever in the mind, no change in the mind, nothing changes, no modification happens in his mind. He is not at all affected by likes and dislikes. Never is affected by raga, dvesha. Samadarshitayatmani, he remains in equanimity. Everywhere, wherever he is, he remains in equanimity because Samadarshitaya Atmani, he sees the same Atman present everywhere, in everything, in every situation, in every person who praises, in every person who criticizes, in profit in the stock market, in a loss in the stock market. Everywhere Samadarshitaya Atmani. He sees the same Atman, same existence, same reality, same Satchidanandam, same blissfulness present everywhere in everything. Everywhere in everything it is the same blissfulness that is present. So, he sees only that Atman. So, he is not at all having any modification in his mind, because he is only perceiving or seeing or knowing or reveling in that Atma Tattva, Jnanam and Atmanandam. So, he is not at all affected by anything. Whatever happens, whatever dual world is meeting him in whichever way, he remains in that steadiness, in that unaffected level of mind. So, he is a Jivan Mukta. This is a Jivan Muktasya Lakshanam. So then, a possible doubt, how does oneself illumine all intellects simultaneously? That will be taken up tomorrow. Tomorrow we will try to see few slokas, and then the day after tomorrow the concluding slokas. Vasudeva Sarvamidam Sarvam Vishnumayam Jagat Brahmamatramidam Sarvam Sarvam Brahmaiva Sakalam Jagat Bhutani Vishnurityadya Shatakodha Sahasrashaha Vishwasya Brahma Bhinnatve Jayanti Shrutayopi Cha. सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु मा कश्चित् दुःखभाग् भवेत् असतो मा सद्गमय तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय मृत्योर्मा अमृतङ्गमय ॐ पूर्णमदः पूर्णमिदं पूर्णात् पूर्णमुदच्यते पूर्णस्य पूर्णमादाय पूर्णमेवावशिष्यते ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्तिः हरिः ॐ श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः हरिः ॐ।